Okay. Welcome to our weekly football podcast that is just now having its second episode in week 6 of the season. We last record. Go ahead.
It could be quarterly. We're shooting for weekly, but yes, today we'll settle for quasi weekly.
Yeah, so the last time we recorded was during that Falcons Vikings game at the end of week 2. So we're a little bit behind. A few reasons for that.
Life in general might be the best way to put it.
Yeah, I won't put your business out there, but I have no problem putting mine out there. Your girl's been depressed as shit. And it is hard to care about anything, let alone the newest thing on my list of things to care about. You know, like, this whole thing is an exercise in me, like, learning to care about football again. And when I don't care about anything, that has gone way down the list. Like, it hasn't fallen off the list. It's just, it's hard to do anything. You know, how depression goes. And then, like, week 3, I didn't get to watch any football because literally during the entire football week of, like, Thursday through Monday, I was house sitting for people who did not have any, like, way to watch TV. I mean, I could have probably watched something streaming somewhere, but again, I was also depressed. So it was very easy to pick one streaming service and just, I think I watched Jag for that entire, like, 5 days or whatever. But anyway, so that's what's been going on with me. And, you know, Ben has had some of his own issues go on, and that has resulted in us taking, like, a 4-week break from our weekly podcast. But go ahead.
I was just going to say, momentum's a thing. I mean, I think that with anything, once you get into that groove, and also, I would rather not drive myself insane trying to do something, especially something newer that doesn't have the momentum behind it.
Yeah, the more you do it, the easier it gets to do it. So, you know, maybe the next one will only take 3 weeks.
Well,
But
I will say, I think the advantage of it though is a lot of this season to me feels like kind of the misconceptions we had going into it. Like suddenly Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. Baker Mayfield is maybe not just a serviceable quarterback, but may actually be like very good. The Chiefs are struggling. The Ravens are struggling. The Bills are about the only team that looks like they're supposed to look like. But yeah, I mean, to me, it just feels that this is one of those years that a lot of our preconceptions that, you know, even the best experts had coming in have just not borne out, whether it's injuries or just the way games have went. I mean, and the thing too is, like, speaking about Baker Mayfield, but the thing has been they've won a bunch of one-score games, which on one hand, that's impressive because you're not blowing it, but statistically speaking, those tend to be coin flips. So I won't be surprised if Baker Mayfield, maybe less Baker Mayfield, but just the Bucks kind of come back to normalcy in some way. But, like, I've been surprised by him. I care about the Giants this year, which is surprising. I did not think they would be relevant in any way, and I think we all like watching some dude run through people, so that's why people like Cam Scattaboo.
I didn't see myself caring about the Buccaneers, and that was like the most exciting game I've watched this season. Maybe not, but up there. I believe, what was it, yesterday that I said that?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, it was them versus the 49ers, so that was yesterday.
Yes.
We are recording on Monday, October 13th.
And there's
no need for a football podcast to try to be evergreen. I don't know why I'm, like, avoiding dates.
And the Bears are about to score because Brisker picked off Daniels. But let's see if the Bears can punch that in. It's been a field goal fest so far, 6-0.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think us struggling to get off the ground has actually just given some normalcy to take place. Or that 3 weeks ago I've been like, the Chiefs are going to be perfectly fine. The Bucks are going to, or the Ravens are going to be perfectly fine. But now I'm like, yeah, maybe they still win enough games or something. But I definitely don't think those teams are nearly as good as I thought they were going to be coming into this year. Mm-hmm. And again, the Giants. We care about the Giants?
Well, good job, like, jumping into things before I even, like, finished my intro. That's cool.
Sorry about that.
No, all that was left was for me to say that, like, we never really meant for this to be, like, a weekly recap podcast so much as, like, talking about football in general and also, like, learning things about the game. So, not doing it every week, like, I'm not upset yet. Like, if we keep running into issues like this, then I'll start getting upset. But
very understandable.
But yeah, I think as the season gets closer and closer to February, I think we'll be more and more excited to record, or more and more depressed and therefore need to record, depending on how our respective teams do.
That's it. I only wanted to touch on, apparently I was wrong about the Bills. Atlanta is up 21-7 right now, so more to the point of what we don't know. Yeah, nothing makes sense this year. I think it's just one of those transition years right now. That's what it feels like to me, that it's less about those teams that we thought were going to matter versus who's actually going to take advantage of the situation. Like, if there's not these regular juggernauts, who's actually going to break through and take advantage of things this year. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think more than ever, just I try not to have hot takes. I mean, unless I actually have some passion behind it. But yeah, like, I'm glad I didn't put down a bunch of opinions the past 4 weeks. It would have been proven stupid by this point.
Yeah, and because we decided to do this on Monday night, I forgot it's Sunday Night Football that is on Peacock, and therefore I can watch on my tablet while recording. So my only knowledge of how the Commanders are doing right now is, like, the Google Live update and hearing my mom from the other room.
Or I can just try gaslighting you and, like, just...
Well, no, they're playing the Bears, so of course, like, you and I are on very opposite sides of this right now. Our first, like, rival game of our show.
Well, and I guess one thing, because the whole thing this week has been the whole Hail Mary play from last year, which rightly so. It was a fun end of the game, unless you're a Bears fan. But and I will say the funny thing was, I remember my cousin texting me last year when the Bears went up before that play, because I knew there was enough time left, and I texted her that back. And then by the time basically she had a chance to even say something again, the Hail Mary happened, and yeah. But I guess the point I wanted to make was just, it's funny how quickly a narrative can both be established and also just how quickly those preconceived notions, like we were talking about, like, understandably, Washington fans came into this year positive, but I think what we're seeing is they're the oldest team in the NFL by, like, a good, almost a full year, and Jaden Daniels is a sophomore in the NFL, which I mean, like, everything that I saw in the first year tells me he's at least going to be a starting quarterback, but I think we're seeing a little bit of the learning curve that naturally comes with playing football in the NFL.
When you say oldest team in the NFL, do you mean, like, oldest franchise or, like, average age of players?
Average age of players. I believe I believe they were around 28, where I think most of the teams were grouped in kind of the 25, 26, and low 27 area. Mm. I'd have to double check, but just they are an outlier, which is, I think, what served Daniels well last year, but... I mean, it's just the simplicity of, you get older, this game gets harder, you're getting hit by other large people that are probably only getting younger compared to you.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's just the thing is, I don't think Washington fans need to panic, but I do think it's easy to forget that Detroit was banged up. That kind of helped beating them in the playoffs. There's no shame in that. Like, I don't discount success. I mean, like, I think it's our job, if we're doing a podcast like this, to contextualize it. But I think if you're just trying to be like, oh, well, Detroit was banged up, it's just like, who cares? Like, that's not Washington's fault.
Yeah.
But I think, too, this is the natural regression in a way that this year's harder or looking harder because, I mean, they kind of overachieved last year, but I can live with that if I'm a fan because Jayden Daniel looks like a starting quarterback in the NFL. That's kind of what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so I think the wise position for Washington fans is like cautious optimism rather than like being overly confident. Like, we did pretty well last year. That doesn't automatically mean we're doing amazing this year.
Sorry for the pause. That was parenting of grabbing the baby monitor to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. But yeah, I think that's exactly it. Like, I think sometimes we get too focused on the results, as important as they are, and kind of forget that Washington, especially with the ownership change and everything, it's going to probably take time for them to be that team that a lot of, especially long-standing Washington fans, believe that they are and that their team history says that they are. But I think the pain right now is that roster turnover and everything else is you're going to have high variance. Like, there's going to be, weeks where Jayden Daniels probably looks like one of the better quarterbacks playing outside of the superstars. And then some weeks he's going to look like a guy who's in his second year of the NFL. And that's okay. The biggest mistake I think everyone makes is that anybody just comes in ready and doesn't learn or just have pains or anything. That's just, I think we simplify the narrative, especially as like time goes on. We make it sound like Patrick Mahomes or anybody just walked in and everything was perfect. And no, they've gotten better. They've learned things, which is only scarier as if you're trying to go against them and it turns out this guy's getting smarter.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'll say like I said, I don't even know what to think. The Bears are up 13-0, but I don't trust my eyes. It seems like this will only end in disaster no matter what. That is the opposite side of preconceived notion. As a Bears fan my entire life, things end in sadness. My joke is, depending on whether you're pro-life or pro-choice, I have not been alive for a Bears Super Bowl. I was born in May of '86 after they won.
Why am I just now learning you're older than me?
I thought that was assumed because I transferred into Shepherd, but we'll save that discussion for another day. But yes, like, I think for me, I just generally, I don't expect the Bears to be good. So I'm hopeful when they win games or start to look good. But my joke and somewhat truth is, as a fan, I'm a bit dead inside. So I want to enjoy seeing good things, but I kind of need to see it for longer for me to be like, yeah, Caleb Williams, we're actually going to have a real quarterback for the first time since Sid Luckman in 19 whatever. Sometime in the, just guessing, when do you think Sid Luckman played football for the Bears?
Oh, I've never heard that name before. But that doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot.
That's what I was going to say. This is kind of the fun part of you kind of getting back into this. Sid Luckman was the quarterback for the Bears in 1939 to 1950.
Oh, okay.
So arguably the last time the Bears had a very good quarterback. There was McMahon when they won the Super Bowl and all that. And there's been some good players, but I mean, as a Bears fan, you kind of make that joke that it's been since 1950, essentially, that the Bears have had a quarterback worth anything. Although I think Rex Grossman and a couple other guys had their moments. But yeah, this is not referring to the 90s. This is referring to before probably our parents were born and all that. So yeah, that is...
I don't know. My parents are old as shit.
But I would just say, as a Bears fan, that's the thing, is you kind of assume that the quarterback is going to let you down, and you assume the team's going to let you down. And even though we made a Super Bowl in my lifetime, I just generally, I'm cynical, but I say that as someone who wants to get back to where their heart can be broken by this team, because even when the double doink happened against Philly in the playoffs a couple years ago, I was in such a place as a fan. I was like, I know what's about to happen. It's gonna be a miss. I didn't think it was gonna doink, but I knew this wasn't gonna end in happiness.
I was absolutely delighted when I learned that they mic the damn goal because people love the doink. And like, I'm sure they have happened and been mic'd in my lifetime for like games that I was watching or like were on in my presence, but I had never like noticed that before. So the other, it might have also been yesterday, where we got a doink and I was just giddy.
It's just, I mean, it's the onomatopoeia of its sound. Although usually it's a little bit more. It's
such a great sound.
Yeah, it's just this, and the best part is if it's the home team, it's just that dull thud and the sound of the air coming out of the stadium or arena or whatever you want to say. Just that delightful sound of thunk, and just hearts breaking at the same time. You just hope it's not your team on the hollow thunk of it.
Yes, it was yesterday during the Rams and Ravens.
Yeah, because the Rams have had some kicking issues, and of course they say that right before he kicked it, and then thunk.
Yeah, the Ravens pissed me off yesterday. Because, like, okay, neither one of those teams acted like they wanted to hold on to the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were both struggling, but I think the Ravens thought we were playing hot potato.
I think the Ravens are just a complete mess. Like, this might actually be the greatest, and I know there's a bunch of other injuries, and that's part of it, but this is when you start to believe that, like, Lamar Jackson may be the real MVP, because, yeah, just, it seems like since he went, like, there were signs of trouble before that, but there's been no reason to watch Baltimore since then. Like, normally I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch, Jackson and see something. And yeah, I'm just, when they come up on red zone for me, I'm just like, oh, it's the Ravens.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of disappointed in both of my teams lately.
Welcome being a football fan.
Yeah. Well, in week 5, the Commanders did pretty good. That game was 27-10.
Bears won a bye.
I should have taken more and better notes than I did, instead of, like, what was the one that I wrote? One, I just wrote, God, that was embarrassing. Oh. In week 5, the Texans versus the Ravens. The Texans beat the Ravens 44-10, and my only note is, Jesus Christ, this was embarrassing.
Yeah, I'd say
I'll get better at having more and like more intelligent thoughts, but
I think
that's where I'm at right now.
But I think right now where the Ravens are at, there is no like intelligent thought to have, in the sense of they're just bad. Like,
that's why they're the best team for me to follow right now, while I'm too depressed to think intelligently.
But nonetheless, I think that's just kind of... I think there's times when I look at a team and I'm like, okay, I can see what's wrong here. I mean, as a fan, like, I'm not pretending I know these teams at that sort of level, but it's like, yeah, I can kind of see, and it's just like, no, Baltimore's just sad and unhappy, and there's not even Lamar Jackson to be entertaining. And yeah, I'll say, in just the defense and everything else, and somehow, I mean, like, I think partially the only reason the game wasn't worse yesterday was Puka Nacua got injured, and that kind of... Yeah. He's either one of the best receivers in the NFL or the best, depending on how you feel about slots versus outside guys. But, yeah.
I don't know what that means, so explain.
Well, the simple version, the simple explanation would just be... and I wish I had a piece of paper or something, but essentially, if you have a receiver the furthest out, and then if you have a guy inside of him, he's called your slot receiver. They tend to run more of inside routes. They are not typically your they can be fast, but they tend to be the guys doing the dirty work, kind of going across the field, or at least running, routes that aren't the fly routes, or just, the run as fast as you can straight ahead type of routes. So they sometimes get called possession receivers because it's a lot about catching the ball and moving the chains, not these big chunk yardage, plays. It's often, get us 8, get us 10, just, it's not about these big strikes. They just tend to be guys running these shorter routes. But if they're a guy like Puka Nacua or Cooper Kupp before him, it's like, yeah, he's a slot receiver, but if he's breaking off consistently, like 10 catches a game for 10 some yards each time, it's like, yeah, you're going to have a big problem. I think that was part of the reason the Rams just struggled to put more points up against the Ravens was they didn't have their guy just to continue, to breaking off those, like, maybe not, chunk plays, but if you're getting gashed for 8 to 15 yards a pop, like, that's not a fun time.
And this would be a great time to say, hey, maybe if you kind of like what we're doing, donate to our Patreon so we can afford some sort of meeting software that will allow us to do, like, slideshows and John Madden all over things like we've been planning to do. It's just really hard to do that when we're using Zoom and contending with, like, the 40-minute limits.
Yes. Right now, ours is a battle with technology.
Yeah.
We are essentially...
I'm about to start coming in with, like, a little whiteboard or something for now.
Well, let's say...
And only have video for that section, because I don't want my face on camera until it looks better. I don't know.
You look fine. What are you drinking, by the way?
It's the Aldi brand of the sparkling ice with caffeine.
Nice. See, now this is your chance to sponsor us. Like, she will drink us.
I will shill for Aldi all day.
We will make you the Slurms McKenzie of this podcast.
And one more comment on how terrible the Ravens have been doing recently. Fun little trivia that they plastered on the screen at the end of that game where they lost 17-3. That is the second lowest home score in the team's history.
Oof.
Yeah.
Also, this is a good time to think of the meme, sports if they weren't about sports, when I'm Googling things like how bad are the Ravens, which would be a kind of an insane thing to Google if it weren't about, sports. I was just fearful of the birds outside.
Now, if we're talking about the actual birds, like, I want to make friends with ravens. Like, that's one of my weird life goals.
Oh no, they are amazing. Like, the bird, not the team right now. They've flipped. They definitely only one of them is amazing at the moment.
Oh, here's a thing we can talk about. We're not going through this list in order like I had envisioned, but that's probably good and better. Back in week 4, I wasn't watching this game at the time. So I think I was half asleep when I get a message from Ben that's literally just a tie emoji. And I was like, what the fuck is this? What is going on? And then he explains, oh, it's because the Packers and Cowboys ended in a tie. I genuinely did not know that was allowed to happen, because I always thought there was like a sudden death tiebreaker thing. Is this a recent rule change?
No, like, I'd have to double check to be sure, but what's I think's happened more is now that they've given both teams the chance to have the ball, you do end up with more ties now, because instead of, oh, well, it's sudden death, the Cowboys got a field goal or whatever first, it's over. Now it's like, well, the other team, and, if they get in field goal range, they're going to kick a field goal unless they can get it further. And also because they've made it a 10-minute overtime, that basically ends up being about just enough time for maybe both teams to score, but at the same time, almost usually not enough for the other team to really probably get a touchdown drive put together unless they just get a big play. So, no, I think we're just seeing more ties because the rule change has now created, you know, a situation that's one, both teams get the ball, you know, and a chance to score, and two, this the time, 10 minutes, tends to put us in a situation where, like we saw in that game, Green Bay had to kick a field goal after nearly running the clock out trying to score a touchdown instead of, you know, if we had a few more minutes, I think Green Bay would have probably got it down and scored a touchdown. But no. I guess I quickly pulled it up. Before overtime was introduced, there was 256 tied games between 1920 and 1973. And then they added overtime, and then, like I said, they've in recent years, especially since that Buffalo Kansas City game where Josh Allen never got to touch the ball, they first just made it where both that rule would only apply for the playoffs, but now they've put it into the regular season, which is what we saw in that tie game. Was both teams got a chance to touch the ball, but we still ended up with a tie, and no one's happy about it because it felt. But the funny thing is, I think it felt like a loss for Green Bay, but for the Cowboys, it almost felt like a win. I mean, I don't think either team fully takes it away that way, but just I feel like the spirit or the momentum of the game, like it felt more like Green Bay left something out there where Dallas was kind of happy to have survived. If they couldn't win, they at least survived.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's I would say that it's not new, but the rule changes have, I think, to me at least, it feels like we get more games that have a chance to end in a tie, if nothing else.
Okay. I have written that down, and let's add that to our list of, like, deep dive episodes that we want to go into where we talk about, like, rules and scoring and stuff like that. Because I know, like, there was a time in my life where ties did not happen, or were, like, super duper rare.
Yeah, I mean...
Because, like, does overtime, like, not happen anymore?
No, there's still overtime. It's just I pulled it up. There was actually about a 7-year gap from 89 to 97 that there wasn't a tie game. I'd have to check what the rules were, if maybe that was what was going on there. But yeah, then there were.
Ooh, that would be a fun deep dive if we like talked about like how the rules changed.
Yeah, about to say it'd be
in the entire history of the NFL.
Yeah, I think
because there was a time where the forward pass wasn't even a thing.
And we will get into why it's called a gridiron and all that. And
I don't actually know the answer to that, so that's kind of exciting.
We'll save that for that day. There was 2 ties in 2022, one in 21 and one in 2020. So it's been a while. So that's I'd imagine for you, and especially your return to fandom, it's been a while since we've had a tie game, and much less in a what I feel like was more of a marquee game like that ended in a tie.
It's like been a while since I was paying attention.
Yeah.
When there was a tie. Okay, that makes sense.
I'd have to check.
I am satisfied.
Well, I'd say I'd have to check too, but it feels like a lot of the other ones didn't happen in kind of the game of the week slot where everyone's watching, and you're just like, where it was always just like a random 1:00 game where you're just like, oh, okay, guess that was a tie game.
Because like I was going to kind of ask if like overtime doesn't happen anymore because of like TV scheduling and stuff, because I could totally see that being the reason why they like changed rules, because like Amazon was like, no, you have this much time and it will be done.
I will say that is why it is a 10-minute overtime, because they don't want the 1:00 games spilling too far into the 4:00 games. So they limited the overtime to 10 minutes so that the chances of those games like going much longer into the others would not happen. But like I said, that's kind of the drawback, is it's really kind of the way possessions are in the NFL. It ends up kind of actually creating kind of a weird thing with the second team even if they do get a chance to score, they have a lot less time to do it in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yes, I will hopefully not have to send you any more tie emojis anytime soon.
It was just the complete lack of context and probably being half asleep. I was just like, what is happening? Okay, so back a week or two ago, I was like lamenting that I feel like I have nothing to say about anything that's happening. Like, I've been watching the games, but like I have no thoughts because depressed brain. So Ben was trying to be very helpful and ask some questions, and I just kind of want to like run through these questions and my answers to them. I'm actually going to do these in the opposite order in which they are listed, so don't look at me like you're confused. The first question is, do I have any favorite players on other teams that I wish were on my team? And I was just like, I don't know enough players by name to be able to answer this question. Because, like, okay, I know Joe Burrow, but that's because he's deeply weird and I love him. But I don't know that, like, I really want him on any of my teams. I love Tyson. Would love Tyson to be on a team that I can root for more readily. You know, Tyson Bagent, who's playing for the Bears. So he's on your team.
So I'll say the weird thing with being a Bears and a Shepherd fan is basically if Caleb Williams isn't starting, that probably means something very bad has happened. Either an injury or the guy that the Bears took number 1 overall isn't good enough. So as much as I want to see Bagent in the game, like, it's also, as a Bears fan, it's like, oh no, something bad has to happen. I will say,
yeah, because
it was fun last year when he did get some reps and some time when Caleb was out. But yeah, like it's like no, I kind of don't want to see you because that generally means things are very bad.
yeah, like, so I agree with that. And then you also asked my thoughts on Cam Scatabo, and when you asked this question was the first time I had ever encountered this person's name. And now the algorithm is like, oh, you want to know about Cam Scatabo, do you? And now I'm getting just constant memes. There's one that I'll include in the show notes about him and another player communicating like pit bulls, and now I can't unsee it, and it's the cutest fucking thing in the entire world. But you did say that he's one that just kind of like runs through people, and I do like that. Like, that's one of my favorite kinds of plays, is just like, I am going and I'm taking you with me if I have to.
And I think that's the thing, is there's so many things about especially NFL football that, like, sometimes with a play calling or something like that, that it's not that you have to be smart, but you have to be informed to kind of almost enjoy it sometimes, unless it's like just a big play. Where Scatabo is just primal, I'm going to run through you, I am going to block you when I am not the ball carrier. Like, it doesn't take a lot of brain power to have the appeal of just, I'm going to watch this dude run into dudes as hard as he can.
Yeah, like, my absolute favorite kind of play is another thing I will include in the show notes. It's a video you sent me a while ago of a college team, and this one player is like 6'7", 300 or something, and he damn near makes the touchdown, but
yeah.
Like, had he not been so close to the edge of the field, they basically just ran him out of bounds because they were not going to be able to take him down. Like, that's what I love.
Yeah, that's well, let's say, plus I'm all for obviously Scatabo is a running back, but anytime a lineman has the ball, it's hard not to enjoy that.
Like, you go, big guy. Like, that's my favorite. Is like the guys that don't normally get to be carrying the ball and they just book it.
Yeah. Oh, and it was Caden Proctor with Alabama. Yeah, Alabama. They ran a screen pass out to the side, and I mean Georgia's got the funny thing too is like the
and
whole
dude is like visibly larger than everyone around him.
he is 6'7", 366 pounds. Like he's not
yeah,
just
like
he's just
we love a big boy.
I'm about to say he's not big, just like compared to the average person. He is bigger than just about everybody else on the field, or probably is the biggest person on the field.
He looked like an adult playing with like a middle school like peewee team. Like it was so good.
And like the thing that I enjoyed about it too was, like Georgia's a good team. It's not like there weren't athletes out there, but it's the same problem of smaller guys trying to tackle Josh Allen, who I forget his exact height and weight, but is a big dude. It is very hard to tackle someone that big. Like, not to mention he is mostly normally proportioned, Caden Proctor. So it's not like you're, just trying to tackle this, bigger lineman or something. It's like the guy just looks like a normal person with outsized proportions. Like he's just bigger than everyone else, but not like awkwardly so. He's just huge. So
according to Google, Josh Allen is 6'5", 237.
Yeah. As Bomani
and apparently married to Haley Steinfeld. I didn't know that.
Bomani Jones made on the point on his podcast is like, yeah, those 36s and those numbers in the teens aren't going to be taking down Josh Allen. You need a lineman to tackle someone like that. So that was part of the reason that no one could get Proctor down was he's not the fastest guy on the field, but it's like, yeah, some 200-pound safety is going to struggle to knock this guy down. And getting back to Scatabo, I think is the thing is just like he's running angry and he's getting lower than you and he is just going to plow through you and he has no fear doing it. Like, I guess it's the thing is like plenty of guys, know how to hit other guys and things like that. But Scatabo wants to take the contact to you. So it's a different sort of thing when he's not just trying to run through you. He is taking joy in running over top of you if he can. Like, it's a subtle distinction, but I just think it's a difference between like, it's a commitment to the bit, I guess, in the sense of he's not thinking about he can juke past you, but it's the fact that when he commits to run through you, there is no hesitation on his side of things.
Yeah, so like he was not previously someone that I had any knowledge of, but like now he's someone that I'm going to be paying attention to.
Yeah, and I think like to me, it's just like the obvious appeal of him is just that. It's just, it doesn't take any brain power to be like, watch man run through people.
Yeah. Sometimes I just like the meathead of it all.
Yeah, and I mean, like I think it's the thing. To me, it's like if Rob Gronkowski was a running back, it's just like the guy is just kind of like the stereotype of a football player in a lot of ways. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It just seems like this guy is the only thing he cares about is grabbing the ball and running through people. Like there was even a play during the Philadelphia game. He didn't have to make contact.
I mean, that was how I played basketball, basically.
There was a play in the Philadelphia game. He didn't have to make contact with one of the Philadelphia defenders going into the end zone, but he was like, you know what? I'm going to run through this guy, or at least run into him on the way there. And I was saying he scored 3 touchdowns last week, and that obviously was a bit of a surprising upset because, I mean, Philadelphia isn't the same Eagles team as last year. Their offense, for one thing. But I definitely wouldn't have picked the Eagles to lose that game.
Right. Another question that you asked me was, what's the best and worst thing that you've seen from any team recently? And I kind of had I couldn't really think of anything because, no thoughts recently. So I was filling some of these notes out yesterday. So the worst was just the Rams versus the Ravens because it pissed me off. But the best thing was Tez Johnson's little like gymnastics routine after a touchdown.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Yes, I'd say after making that beautiful snag, like I think it was a thing too was Baker Mayfield had made that play earlier in the drive to extend it, but in a good way, he kind of overthrew Tez Johnson there. But that's where you want to miss if you're throwing that ball. You don't want to give a defender a chance to get a hold of it. But Johnson was able to reach out and get it, and he makes that athletic play to catch it, and then we get the, cartwheel somersault. I was never good at it.
I believe it was a cartwheel into a back handspring, but I'm not sure. It's been a very long time since I knew anything about gymnastics.
I'd say I mean, I only know the only gymnastics move I can name is the Biles, and that's just because it's Simone Biles' move.
Yeah.
That's. But it was beautiful to see, and I think Baker had a funny comment of, I'd be doing one too if I weighed 150 pounds or whatever. Tez Johnson.
Yeah, that's not something you see the big men doing.
There's different sorts of athleticism in the NFL, and I don't think we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see too many linemen trying to do that. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see.
So, if there's one who can, I want to see it.
Baker wasn't joking. Tez is listed at 165, whereas Philadelphia Eagles lineman and occasional WrestleMania participant Lane Johnson, he's a little bit bigger, and I'm trying to find his weight real quick, but he weighs about 325, so I don't think we're going to see him doing any somersaults. That's also hilarious to me that he weighs about 2 Tez Johnsons.
And then the first question on the list, but the last one we're going to talk about because it's the most, technical of these, is he asked me, what do I think is working for Washington right now when I'm watching? And I was just like, other than, our quarterback seems to still be working out pretty well for us, I don't really know. So I just kind of asked my mom, because I was sitting on her couch while I was looking over these questions, and she says she thinks the ownership and management change has been helping a whole lot, and I want to know what you think about that.
I mean, I think so. Any Washington fan knows the horrors of Dan Snyder. I didn't even care.
I knew the horrors of Dan Snyder, and I wasn't even paying attention to football at that time. So
yeah, exactly.
if that puts anything into context.
And I think that's the thing is, you get. I think the mistake we make with a lot of teams is these teams are worth a lot of money. But that doesn't mean that there is all that money going towards every bit of the organization. He was known for basically kind of skimping on facilities and things like that, her training staff. And I mean, I'd have to check all the player surveys that they do every year. But basically, it was always kind of these things like that, and the thing is too, he should have had the money. He just was cheap. I think that just is one of the things. It's you get somebody who wants to meddle with the team, but they also don't really want to put the money into the facilities and all that. And I think that's the thing too is...
Yeah, a football team requires a certain amount of, investment. And not just paying your players and your staff, but, there's stadiums to maintain and all of that stuff.
I'm about saying... I mean, this is even getting into, the, sexual harassment and stuff, which is, the obvious problem. But, they were known for playing the worst. They had what was considered to be the worst stadium in the NFL. It was bad enough that, like, these big musical acts, including Taylor Swift, would avoid it. The only reason, I mean, but getting back to why it matters. So the NFL has a salary cap. So while there's a little bit of the different ways teams can pay players, or, essentially everyone's operating on the same budget. So if you get players who see this team and, yeah, they're going to pay me, but, they don't put the investment into the facilities, this training staff, and all the other things, it's like, one, you're just not going to get certain players because these, kind of maybe marginal advantages or whatever, they're just not there. It's like if I'm getting paid roughly the same amount and I don't care which team I'm playing for, I'm going to go to the one with nicer stuff. And I think that was just one thing that, on top of the toxic culture, on top of him hiring the wrong people and everything like that, you just can, it all happens. I think it's when these owners aren't fully committed to winning or just being a good owner of a sports team. It infects everything. But I think that's the difference is Josh Harris and the people he has brought in the ownership, they're much more about doing the things that are going to get the players to be like, get players talking. And yeah, like, ultimately the football is going to have a big factor on where a guy signs and everything. But if all things are even and I hear that this team takes care of their players, yeah, I'm probably going to end up signing with them over a team offering me about the same amount of money. I mean, and much less if they get good on top of that, it's like I have a chance to win and they take care of me. Yeah, of course I'm going to sign with this team. And I think that's what we're seeing with Washington is they're bringing in more people. They're paying more people to do certain things. They're putting more technology in. Like part of the deal was when they they drafted Jaden Daniels. He had this thing at LSU where he trains in a simulator of some sort at like 1.5 speed, like of the game, like the software, whatever, it's a simulation of him of playing football, but he does it. But he basically, his deal was, if you're going to draft me, you have to do this. And Dan Snyder probably would have never invested in that. He would have drafted Jane Daniels, said "F you," and went on. Whereas Harris and them were just like, "Oh yeah, of course, we'll pay for that. We want you on this team." And I think that's the difference is you very quickly change the culture to, this they care about taking care of us. And like I said, when the pay is the same, if you don't hate your boss or the guy who owns the team, it does wonders. And plus, there's just all that intangible stuff when the investment's there that, tends to show up because you're hiring the right people, but also because no one's trying to stab each other in the back. I mean, like, again, Snyder was a special sort of terrible owner, and I don't think Harris and them would have to do anything special. I think if they just tried to be halfway competent, they would make Washington a better team. But that's how low the bar was. But he also owns the 76ers, if I'm thinking correctly. And he's just someone who he wants to, he wants the teams he owns to actually be good. And that matters. I mean, I just think it's as simple as that. It's like with anything, you put the investment into it, it shows. And especially with a salary cap, in that you can't just pay me, more than somebody else. It's like, yeah, I want the fringe benefits that come with it. Simple as that. Sorry for that rant.
No, that was a good explanation.
Yeah, I mean,
I learned a thing.
I mean, from the teams I've covered and, like, I've done blogging about the Indiana Pacers and all that, like, just a lot is said for just not running a toxic organization and spending money where you're supposed to. Um, and there's just ways that you can get those little advantages over other teams, especially if they don't do those things. The Cincinnati Bengals are notorious for their ownership essentially like not paying for things that other teams pay for. I don't have the list in front of me, but it's as simple as that. If you don't make guys feel welcome, they're not going to be loyal. But if they like it's like with everything. If you kind of like your job, you're a little bit more loyal to it. Much less if you're winning games in a sport.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, as a Washington hater, it's what I kind of hate to see, but I also appreciate it because for any player or anything, yeah, I'm glad that they're getting taken care of instead of hearing all these weird stories about the owner being cheap and just being a terrible human being in all categories.
Yeah.
I'd say I'll try not to talk so long next time.
No, better you be the one talking about and like know what you're talking about than me just filling airtime.
But yeah, I mean, I think what we'll really see is in the next few years, because Snyder just was essentially forced to sell the team a couple years ago, but the players and everybody said there was an immediate culture change, and it helps when your owner's not a scumbag, or at least not like, the type of one that Dan Snyder was. And I think as time goes on, we'll see how players actually in their opinions change, and maybe a few more guys end up signing there because they're like, they're not terrible anymore.
So I originally planned on there being like a segment of like, assuming this is a weekly podcast, a segment, something of like things been explained to me this week or things MK learned this week or whatever, because I thought that'd be kind of fun. But this week it's things Ben was supposed to explain but ignored me, so he's gonna explain it now. And that is, what is a tush push?
I guess the irony of the tush push is it really is just a quarterback sneak. I mean, there's a little bit different alignment.
Second question, what is a quarterback sneak?
Just exactly what that is. Instead of handing the ball off to anybody else, throwing a pass, it's just the quarterback diving into or over the pile to try to get a yard.
Okay.
And
so it's when the quarterback doesn't throw the ball and runs with it himself.
Yeah, but like in particular, just running straight ahead as soon as the snap happens, because we just need that yard. So we don't need to do anything else. We just need to, there's no razzle dazzle to it. But I think what makes a tush push is, one, Philadelphia for years now has, since they got Jalen Hurts, they've whether it's Lane Johnson or now retired Kelsey, they've had guys on the line that were the best at their job or close to. They also have stupidly strong guys on the line on top of that, like even for NFL standards. So, and then they got a quarterback who, I forget the numbers on what Jaden Hurts can squat, but he is also arguably the strongest quarterback in the league. So the whole thing with the tush push on top of that is, and plus arguably legally they are pushing Jalen Hurts over the pile and all that, but I mean, I don't really care about that. If the league wants to start calling it, that's fine. But oh yeah, Jalen Hurts can squat 600 pounds. So the big thing is, Philadelphia just gets low, and it's not even like a lot of QB sneaks where maybe the quarterback looks to kind of dive to the left or right. They might have a little bit of plan to make, kind of jump over through things. But Philadelphia just runs that, and then they have a couple guys pushing Jalen Hurts, so it's damn near impossible to stop or at least it feels that way, because it's just they are willing to somewhat throw the quarterback into the maul of the line in a way that few teams are interested.
So it's when the team is pushing their own quarterback into. Okay.
Basically, yeah. And I mean, like, arguably that's illegal, because I think, like, the way the rules are, you're not really supposed to, like, essentially be, moving the ball carrier like that. But yeah, like, but like, essentially Philadelphia has said, we're going to build a wedge with these three, our line. On top of that, we have a stupidly strong quarterback who can squat 500 pounds or whatever, or 400, whatever it was. 600. But and then on top of that, you have Saquon Barkley and anybody else pushing him, over it. So it's just primordial football. It's a rugby scrum and all that. That's really, to me, all it is. Like, it is both the QB sneak, but also pushing the way that they choose to push Jalen Hurts through the pile too. Because I guess to the opposite end of things, the Kansas City Chiefs actually very rarely will run even a QB sneak, because Mahomes got injured on one, and they just basically decided they weren't going to risk it, and they could score and do many things other ways. But like I said, what Philadelphia does is just, we're going to put a strong quarterback and then just shove him through the line too, and we're just going to make this happen every time. And there's some complaints about, and rightly so, that some of the times Philadelphia is jumping offside, although that feels more like a noob thing. I mean, it's mainly just a thing. It is a bunch of very strong guys, trying to, rugby scrum a yard at a time. That's why it's why it feels so unstoppable, but at the same time, like, I think there's just limits to it, because it's you can only get really a yard out of it, because it is purposely set up to be that messy but near unstoppable play. Oh, did I lose you?
No, I was just kind of nodding.
Oh, okay. But yeah.
Well, we have 10 minutes left in this recording session. So I think we've basically covered everything on our notes. Any closing thoughts you have?
No, I'm obviously interested to see the Bears can beat Washington and kind of...
Yeah, we just came back from halftime, for context. Bears are up 13-7. So, like, all is not lost yet, but I'm not holding my breath.
That's probably the best way. I'd say I'm not ready to get out on Caleb Williams or anything like that, but winning some games like this could go a long way. Where I don't know what the line was. Apparently Washington was a 5-point favorite. But I think winning some games like that they're not supposed to could go a long way to making me believe in Caleb Williams, because he's done okay, but you have to start winning at some point, and whether that's making big plays or taking what's in front of you, that's what he's got to do more of. Sometimes I think he tries to do too much himself, and obviously there's some ways that things can go wrong when you try doing and playing football that way.
Yeah. So that just about wraps everything up for us. In the next couple of days, we are going to be recording our first bonus episode for patrons. So get in on the ground floor for that if you want to hear us talk about football movies. Our first one is Remember the Titans, because I wanted to get it over and done with. Did you get a chance to finish it yet?
No, I'm going to finish this probably next day or so that we can get on that. I'd say it's one of those movies I've seen enough times. Like, I feel like I could BS my way through it, but obviously we want to take this seriously.
I would prefer you not BS your way through it.
Like I said.
Because, like, like, the reason I wanted to get it over and done with is just because, like, I don't know how things were in your high school, but, like, in my high school, you know that thing where, like, a teacher is sick or hungover or just otherwise doesn't feel like teaching and they put on a movie? For some reason, an inordinate amount of the time, Remember the Titans was that movie. I don't know if there was just, like, one DVD that kept getting passed around, but it's, like, I have seen that movie too many times. But it has now been long enough that, like, there were things I forgot. Like, I forgot Ryan Gosling was in that movie. And there's, like, I did some research about, like, the real story that it's based on, and so listen to that bonus episode if you want to hear my thoughts about how respectfully or disrespectfully Disney treated that story.
I will say real quick, my theory on it would be is you guys are a couple stone throws from where all of that took place. Plus, also, I feel like it's one of those movies that has enough action that, like, you're not going to lose most kids. But yeah.
I'll give you this comment for free. The accents are so fucking dumb. No one in Alexandria talks like that. Alexandria, Virginia is, like, an hour away from here.
Well, yeah.
They talk like they're from South Carolina.
Yeah, about to say, I when I first saw that movie, I thought, like, where it had to have been, like, must have been, like, maybe at least Richmond or something, like, somewhere in Southern Virginia.
It is in the DC metropolitan area.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, I don't remember all the accents from my time up that way, but definitely, like any city, the further you get into them, the less you're going to get that.
Yeah, and, like, I will grant that in the 70s, it may have been a little bit more Southern sounding than it is today, but still, I was like, no, this can't be right. But anyway, more of these thoughts and more in our first bonus episode. I will probably do the thing that every podcaster does and do like a preview of that episode. You know, like a 5 to 10 minute, like, teaser thing. Oh god. There's an alarm. Anyway, so that's it for us. I'll get us some social media set up one of these days, but until then, you can follow me on Instagram at EHMKAY Ultra.
And you can follow me at Cowboy on Patrol.
And I'll get us some real social media up here soon. That's it. Thanks, everybody. That's been episode 2 in the can.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! All right.